I appreciate you coming. The thing about it is this. When we have a meeting, we say an annual Title I parent involvement meeting, we should have room for people to sit down. But you know and I know that's not the way it is. Especially when you get to middle school. Middle school kids do not want you here. You know that, don't you? When they're in 6th grade, some of them will say, go ahead and come on down. 7th and 8th, they want you to stay home longer and longer. When they get in high school, they don't even know you. I know, I've been there. I have 2 of them, and so. But we're glad you're here. For those who come, those who came, we will treat you as if we had a room full. And we want you to ask questions if you wish. If you don't understand something we're talking about, I'm talking about, we'll ask this lady over here. She knows everything. I don't mind putting her on the spot and embarrass her because it's her first year here. And so I do that to first-year people. I'm teasing. I want to introduce you to Leslie Shepard. Leslie Shepard is our new parent involvement coordinator. You might remember that Esther Wilhelm was last year. Esther Wilhelm was a certified teacher, and I gave her a teaching position this year. So we begged and begged Leslie to take it. And she's a good friend of Esther's, and she consented to do so. She's here. She'll help you with anything she can. She and I are going to tag team this PowerPoint presentation. Sometimes I kind of have a tendency to take over, and she says she don't mind. So I'll let her operate the computer until we get to a point where she needs to say something, then she will. But again, I say welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please feel free. Raise your hand. Ask me questions. I don't mind. Can everybody hear me? Okay. A Title I school, and I may include 3 or 4 slides at one time, and she'll just have to try to keep up with me. I don't know. Can you see that? A Title I school is a school that receives federal funding to ensure that all students obtain a high-quality education. Any school that has a certain percentage of free and reduced student rate, eating free and reduced, they become a title school and they're federally funded. All the schools in Walker County, I think, are federally funded with the exception maybe of one, except one. And those, even that one, I think, would qualify. So all of our students, here at Chattanooga Valley Middle School, we have 71% of our students who either eat free or reduced. Now, what do we do with this Title I money that is given to us, federal money? This particular year, we were given $161,252. Out of that money, I use $110,400 for personnel. Let me tell you about that. This year, the county allotted me 5 teachers for the 6th grade, 5 teachers for the 7th grade, and 6 teachers for the 8th grade. That meant that my classroom numbers are going to be very large. So what I did, I chose to use Title I funds to purchase other teachers. So this year we have 6 teachers in the 6th grade, we have 6 in the 7th grade, and 8 in the 8th grade. My 8th grade numbers are small, but that's okay. I like them to be small. I predict that next school year we may have only 6, 6, and 6 in the 3 grades, because our numbers today, I looked, is 495 students. So we qualified for 5 students at the 6th grade, 5 at the 7th grade, and 6 at the 8th grade. All right, when I pay for the personnel, that's counting, FICA, counting insurance, counting everything, what it costs to pay for teachers, it ran $110,000, $400. Parent involvement coordinator, Miss Leslie Shepard, makes $10,476, just below poverty level. But she is half-time as far as pay goes, but she's working much more than half-time, I assure you, especially here at the first of the year. She'll slack off a little bit later. So that leaves me a balance of $40,376. That money we are using to purchase some things for the school. For example, I'm purchasing 10 new computers for the Media Center. We purchased 16, I believe it was last year. We're adding to it this year by purchasing 10 more. We're purchasing some projectors, overhead projectors for the classrooms. Some are getting older and worn out, buying some calculators for math classes, and then various other supplies, pencil, paper, that sort of stuff. That's the $40,000. As I've already said, Title I funds, we obtain it because we have 71% of our students receiving free or reduced lunch. But now all of our students, even though we qualify for Title I because of our free and reduced students eating, all students benefit from that. If we put computers in the library, media center, whatever you want to call it, whatever we buy for the school, all students benefit from that. Title I school-wide requirements addresses the needs of all students. I've always said they're instructed by highly qualified teachers. Highly qualified teachers, what does that mean? Well, highly qualified teacher says that every math teacher is qualified in math, every science teacher is qualified to teach science, so forth and so on. Until just a few years ago, our federal government would allow us to hire teachers if they were certified to teach, maybe not in a particular area. They may be certified in science, but I need a teacher really bad, so I'd hire them to teach math, and I could do that. No longer will the federal government or state allow that, so we now have in our school, all of our teachers are highly qualified, sometimes referred to as high Q. We also use these Title I requirement monies to provide professional learning for teachers, trying to increase parent involvement. That's what Ms. Shepard does a lot of, and it includes everyone, particularly activities to help low-achieving students. Here is where I didn't want to talk. I told Ms. Shepard there's no point putting this slide up there because I've boasted about this so much, but I'll do it again. We have been designated, Chattanooga Valley Middle School, as a reward school because we're the highest performance of all student groups over 3 years. We were 5th in Title I students in the state of Georgia, and CVMS was the only reward school designated in Walker County. And we'll talk about some test scores here in a minute. Our school-wide goal for me, what I think, this school year, is we're going to try to increase or improve on 8th grade science test scores. And I want you to pay particular attention when we get to 8th grade science scores, where they fall, because that's where we're going to concentrate. And we're going to try to improve 8th grade math scores, particularly with the students of special education. Okay, this was our 8th grade writing score this past year. We will not have an 8th grade writing score again. The state has done away with it. Writing scores or writing will be included, or writing be included in other subject areas. Do note, 2014, our score went down a little bit. 8th grade writing, that means like in 2010, we had 92% of the students in our school that met or exceeded in writing. And then this past year, we had 2014. In 2014, we had 85%. But notice in the next slide that when you look at us in comparison to everyone else, the state of Georgia scored at 80%. RESA, that's all the schools in northwest Georgia, they scored at 79. Walker County, all the schools included, scored at 77, but Chattanooga Valley scored at 85. When I saw that, I wasn't too upset because we did perform well. That told me the test was a little bit harder this year because the state average went down, but we stayed well above the state average, so I didn't get too excited, and it's our last year for the writing test. 6th grade, all students this past year, 6th grade. That will not be the present 6th graders that we have, but it's our present 7th graders. Notice, in comparison, blue, yellow, the red, or maroon, whatever you want to call it, Georgia, the whole state. Where did they score in reading? They scored at 97. The county as a whole at 99, we scored at 99. Language arts, we're at the top. Math, we're at the top. Science, definitely at the top. And social studies outscored the rest of them. Our present 6th grade, we do not have their score, our present 6th, but this is our present 7th grade. They did outstanding this past year. I'm expecting the same for our 6th grade this year because we have basically the same teachers, I think, except one, and I'm expecting great things. Now, some people say that I brag all the time, and I do. I really do. I've been at this business for a long, long time, and I don't mean to be bragging, but I know what I'm doing. If people kind of listen, you know, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if you'll listen a little bit, I think you'll learn something. But I want you to always be ready to ask me questions or what's going on if you don't understand something. I never want you to feel like you're not welcome to school. It doesn't matter what the situation is, what the issue is, you come by and talk to me. I can't solve it, but we can sit down and talk, you know what I'm saying? It might be something I can't solve. But that's 6th grade. 7th grade. Reading. We again are at the top. Language arts, we're again at the top. Math, we're at the top. Science and social studies. These students are 8th grade students this year, the students in this school. Now, I have scores for 6th graders, but they are like from Fairland, from Chattanooga Valley, from Cherokee Ridge, and it's difficult to just get the ones that come to us. I'd have to go and find each one and pull it out, but hopefully those middle schools or those elementary schools, you'll find out about it. And I know you know your individual student scores. 8th grade. Not bad in reading. We scored at 97. I think Lafayette beat us. In English language arts, we were at the top. In math, I was so happy with our 8th grade math this past year. They did outstanding. Science, 82. In comparison to others, we did great. In social studies, we did great. But you do see that we are down in the 80s in science. And when I see something below 90, I just about have heart failure. So I want to improve on our 8th grade science scores this year. And that will, if we work really hard with our special ed population in 8th grade, I think we can see that improve some. Now, 6th grade meet and exceed. This is comparison to ourselves, not other schools, but just over the years. Take a look at that. We basically, since 2011, 2014, kind of stayed at the same level in reading. In language arts, gone up and down a little bit. In math, I think we've improved quite a bit. Science, we're improving, and social studies, we're improving. 6th grade, as a whole, doing outstanding. 7th grade, comparison just to ourselves. Reading, doing great. Language arts, doing great. Math is doing great, down just a little bit, but still in the 90s. If I'm in the 90s, I'm okay. And you can see how they're doing on out through there. Doing outstanding in 7th grade. 8th grade. All right. Meets and exceeds. You can see that the language arts, English reading, English language arts, no problem really. Went down just a little bit in math. Not a lot, still in the 90s. But that science is what I was talking about. It's down to 82. And in social studies, we're down a little bit from 93 to 88. So we're working on science, 8th grade, particularly with social studies next year. You want to talk a while, Leslie? Okay, what curriculum does our school use? I think y'all are aware of this. We no longer have Georgia Performance Standards. We now have what's called Common Core State Standards. I don't know how long they'll keep this. We have fights and battles all the time. Race to the top, and states are going to pull out. Some states are pulling out from state standards and so forth, but right now that's what we go by. Common Core Standards. You as a parent can get on the Georgia website and find these standards anytime. If you want to know what your students are working on, hopefully you can look on the your child's grade book from home, what they're doing, and find out some there. And I'm afraid you might have some questions or issues about that, and I'll address that in a few minutes, but we can talk about grading. We no longer, can you go back?
Yes.
Go back. We no longer have what's called AYP, Adequate Yearly Progress. We now have what's called a CCRPI score, which is College and Career Readiness Performance Score. It's basically the same thing, but we do, in comparison to other schools, our CCRPI score is outstanding. I don't know if we have a slide for that or not, do we? Yes, we do. This is a comparison to the state of Georgia, to Walker County as a whole, Lakeview Middle School, that school over in that other county, Ringgold, Heritage, Dade County, Lafayette, Rossville, all of us. And I compared us to the rest of them, and you can see where we fall. We have an 86.7 CCRPI score, and when you compare us to other schools, that is outstanding. Let me tell you something. When you leave here today, any time, you always brag on this school, okay? You should. I mean, if your children attend school here, you should brag on this school. You should brag on the teachers. It doesn't matter if you think they're the meanest old things that ever was. When you sit down at the dinner table, do not roast the teacher over your dinner meal. Just act like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that'll be good. What test will my child take this year? I already said we're not taking writing tests any longer. We are no longer taking the CRCT. This year, we will take a new test. The sun's coming in, going to kill us. Going to be replaced by what's called Georgia Milestones. This test will be somewhat like the CRCT, except the majority of it will be like multiple choice, A, B, C, D answer. But there's going to be some questions on it that are going to be open-ended. The child has to respond to something. So that's going to be a little bit, so the state says, more rigorous, a little bit harder for us or our students, but our students will perform well, I feel like. Scores may go down a little bit, but in relationship to other people in the state, I think we'll be just fine. Also this year, boy, she's getting happy. Also this year, we're doing what's called county benchmark tests. We're doing benchmark tests in every subject that we have. We do a pre-test at the first of the year. We've already done that. And we will do a post-test. It's to see how well our students might be ready for this milestone test. Also, do you remember when we had what's called SACS accreditation? Schools are accredited by the Southern Association of Accreditation. Well, one of the things that Walker County had said is that we're going to do something to improve achievement, and they said we're going to do some benchmarking. And this benchmarking satisfies that one requirement that the county has set forth to see how our students are prepared or being ready for the, now this year, Georgia Milestones. So we're doing benchmark tests. I'm positive. Now, Title I parent involvement. Miss Shepherd, you want to talk to them?
Not really, but thank you, sure. Do you have everything? Do you have everything?
I didn't get the district policy.
You have some handout sheets. One of them is probably district parent involvement policy. The other one is a school parent involvement policy. The other one is school family compact. Just take those, look at them, read them, see if you might have questions. If you want to change anything, that's okay. We don't mind. We'll listen. But you have that available back on the table if you did not get one. Okay? Okay. See how fast that was? How easy? 100%, I've already said, of our teachers and our paraprofessionals are highly qualified, but you have a right to know your child's teacher's qualifications. Let's suppose one of our teachers wasn't highly qualified, even though they might have a teaching certificate. I'm required by law to notify you within the first 30 days of school that your child as a teacher is not highly qualified. And I would do that. I'd send a letter to every child that teacher teaches. And I've had to do that before. But thankfully we have all of our teachers highly qualified. if you have any questions, of course you can send your student. Let's suppose you thought, my child's not getting the best education they can possibly get at Chattanooga Valley Middle School, and you chose to send it to one of the other schools, your child to one of the other schools. You can do that. I have students here from Rossville Middle School. I have students here from Saddle Ridge Middle School. If you choose to go to a different school, the county will not provide you transportation, but as long as there's room for that child at that school, it's okay for me to take them. Okay? So one day you get mad at me, you don't like me anymore, and you want to move your child over to Rossville Middle School, go over and talk to Jason Pelham, and he'll take you, maybe. I'm being kind of cute about that, but I'm being serious. You can have school choice as long as there's room for your child at that school, and the principal will accept you. Now, I encourage you to visit the Walker County Schools website or call Student Services even. Mr. Chris Chambers is in charge of Student Services. Now, let's suppose you say, I don't have access to a computer, I don't have a computer. Well, that's okay. Don't feel bad about it. I didn't have one until I was 102. I didn't have one for years and years and years. Believe it or not, I grew up in a household where we didn't have indoor plumbing. But that's okay. I was one of 11 children. If you do not have access to a computer and you want to find out more about what's going on at school, you want to look at your children's grades, come down, come to the library, we'll get you on a computer, or come down here and sit down beside me in my office, I'll show you. You can find out. Do not hesitate to come ask. We have child care available when we have these type of meetings. You can get involved in, we have light refreshments as you see tonight. We have materials that will go out from Leslie periodically. We have books, videos, and workshop materials. And as I just got to mention, we have computers in the library that you can use also. This tells how Ms. Shepard spends what money that's allocated to her through Title I funds. Title I funds, 1% of it goes to fund a parent involvement program. 1% of that original amount that I showed you, 162, whatever it was, that goes to fund these type things. We have a little over $2,000 to spend. If you would like to become involved in school, there are plenty of opportunities. If you'd like to be a volunteer, and some of you guys, you say, oh, I don't have time for that, I can't come in. You want to come mow, I'll turn you loose. You want to come and weed eat, come on down. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I like a neat looking campus. I can't stand it if the lawnmower blade was on crooked. Like I just had a fit today and had the lawnmower guy or one of my custodians checked one of the lawnmowers, and just so happens they put on a new blade and it was upside down. But that's okay, we got it straightened out. I want the campus looking good. I want the school building looking good. I want our teachers looking good. The better we look, I think the more professional we look, the better our kids perform. You may have noticed in the hallways, we have furniture. I treat it like it's home. I have your children longer, I think, than you do, because they have to go to bed and go to sleep when they come home with you. You have them a few hours. I have them all day long. So I'm going to treat them like they're mine, and I'm going to teach them how to behave as well as academically perform. Books, videos, games are available in the library to check out. Their computers are available. I already told you, and always look at the CVMS website. If you find that our website is not up to date, and believe me, you'll find times like that, call me and say, Mr. Ward, fix the website, and I'll jump all over the teacher to fix it. Okay? Now, what do we do for parents' engagement opportunities for school and for home? We have a transition night, or have transition from middle school to high school. There's all kinds of transition activities there. We have a science night with Creative Discovery Museum. We'll do that later in the year probably. We have educational technology night we'll probably do. And then we also have transition middle school night for our day or whatever. Kids will come from 6th grade or 5th grade to visit when they're becoming 6th graders. Some of you 6th graders came and visited with us last year. What? Oh, yes. And if you have any ideas of other things to do, we're always ready for ideas. Tell us something. We'll put you in charge of it. No, I'm kidding. Tell us something. Miss Shepherd will be glad to work on it. We have PTO activities. We have, if you'd like to work in Media Center, you can do that. If you have sports events, we have sports events. If you'd like to work in the concession stand, you can do that. You can come and read with students if you want to. You can do vocabulary review with students. You can make copies. You can mow the lawn. I forgot to put that on there. We have parent decision-making opportunities. Oh, I want parents involved. If there's something you can do to help us, we want you involved. You can, this annual meeting agenda, you can help Miss Leslie and myself work on it if you want to see something different. You can have some involvement in the budget development, workshop planning, parent school compact, school policy development, school council. We have a school council. If you'd be interested in that, let me know. And we will use you if you want to be used. We'll try not to abuse you, but we will use you. Okay? Now, did you put a slide on there about grading? I just want to know if you have any questions, and I don't claim to know everything, but do you have any questions about the new grading policy or grading procedures that you just want to ask me about?
I'd like to know why they changed.
Because I told them to. No, I'm kidding. Let me tell you why they changed it. See, ever since I was little, they had what we've been having these past few years here. It's been this way forever and ever and ever. Now, I'll tell you why I think it changed. We have specific standards that we are supposed to teach toward. Those are Common Core standards that states have developed. So many times I think teachers get hung up on things like this. Let's suppose I'm the teacher. I give an assignment. The kid goes home. He takes it home with him. It's homework. He works on it. Well, let's suppose that something just happened at home that night. Mom and Dad weren't getting along. They were fussing a little bit. Mom refused to cook supper. Whatever it happened, you know. You had church night, whatever. You had ball games. You had all kinds of stuff. You got home late. You said you're going to bed. You're getting sleep. So you can do this. You just don't have time for his homework. Kid comes in the next day. What do you think the teacher's going to give him? A 0. Well, that was not grading what the child knew to me. I want teachers to grade what we think students know. Not what they can and cannot do, but what they know. Let's quiz them or assess them on what they do or do not know. And I think sometimes we grade behavior rather than academics. And so, it's been a big mess up though, because we're supposed to give a 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is called progress monitoring and is not supposed to count toward a grade or assessment for your child. If a teacher gives your child a 1, it's 1 out of 4. It says, and if you've looked at your scores, you may have seen a 1 out of a 4 or 2 out of 4. And they'll say 25%, 50%, 75%. It wasn't supposed to say 25%, 50%, 70%, 5%, and so forth. It was just supposed to say this. But it's the Pearson program that Walker County has that's going to have to work on this to get that corrected. It's not a percentage at all. It's supposed to be a 1, 2, 3, or 4. They are working toward the mastery of a particular standard. Let's say it's a standard in math. It might be solving one unknown equation. And the student, just first day, they have limited knowledge of that. They can't do it at all. The second day they work on it, maybe move up to 2. They may move up to 3. When they move up to 4, hopefully it's time for the teacher to assess those students. But this 1, 2, 3, and 4 was never designed to assess students. It's just to let parents know that our student, my child, is progressing toward learning or mastering the standard. Now, eventually, I hope you will never see 1 out of 4 equal 25%. The 25% supposedly is supposed to go away because it doesn't mean 25% at all. When you see 25% and it's got an F out the side of you, it just knocks you out of the saddle. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your child having an F, and I'm the same way. I have a grandchild that's in 6th grade. You see a 2, 50%. You see a 3, 75%. That is not supposed to be there, but right now we cannot change it. The program will need to be changed by Pearson, the company that we use for our grading system. But that will go away. But you'll notice it have a little symbol there beside it. It says does not count toward average. I think it says something like that. So look at what the final grade is. It'll be above it at the top, and see how they're doing. It only averages assessment pieces, not this progress monitoring. Okay? Now that's quick and brief. Now, question?
Yeah. So on there, when you say assessment pieces, I'm thinking tests.
Yes.
What other types of...
Well, that's about the only thing I think of. But let's suppose it's a major project. They're working on a project in social studies. They're building a log cabin, whatever. I don't know. They might assess on that. Anytime you see an assessment grade in their grade book, see, when a teacher puts just 1, 2, 3, or 4 in there, they don't see that 1 out of 4 or 25%. But when I look at it, and when you look at it as a parent, you see it. And that's why I've been on the phone trying to get it corrected and all this stuff. We've had meetings. There's been meetings at Ridgeland and different places trying to explain this to parents. I know I can tell you that they're trying to correct that. But now, the assessment, it will tell you if this counts toward an average. And hopefully each time you see an assessment piece, you'll see a number that goes along with it. Let's say it's in math. It might be NS7B, meaning number systems. It's a standard they're working on. So you should see that number associated with that assessment piece. Okay?
Will that be a percentage grade, or that will be...
That will be a percentage grade.
Okay.
0 to 100. Now, let me tell you something else that teachers are fretting about right now, and you, I think, will understand their frustrations. One of the points in the new policy is that any time that a student does not reach 70% or greater, the teacher is supposed to call the parent or email, anyway, get in touch with the parent somehow. Now, if you're the teacher, this may sound unreasonable, but it happens, I know, and you're given a major test, let's say, a unit test, or on this one particular standard you've taught all week, and you have 10 or 11 students that scored below 70, you have to call the parents. Now, as a parent, you're thinking, well, that's good, they should call me. But just think about how much time that takes for that teacher to call you. Think of how many parents are not at home, they're at work. Think of how many parents that do not, maybe they don't even have a phone. I'm not sure that all do. But what I'm saying is, it's difficult to do. A couple of teachers told me today, Mr. Ward, I spent my entire planning period trying to call parents. Well, I like for them to call parents, but I want them to be preparing during their planning time for all the students, those that passed it went on also, not just those who. And students are also allowed, if your child happens to fail a test or a major assessment, they can ask for reassessment. Your child can ask for reassessment, and the teacher will reassess. Now, don't wait till the end of the 9 weeks or something like that. Ask for it. That child should ask for it within a few days. Okay? Anyone else have a question? Ask me a question about anything. See if you can stump me. Yes, dear.
Asking about those retakes, because I work in elementary, so we know the teacher generates it. I know at high school the kids have to fill out a form. What is it in middle school? Do they just verbally go to their teacher and say, can I look at a retake?
They can.
Okay.
Few teachers have a form that student can fill out to request it. But they can just verbally request it, yes. Now, if I'm teaching, I've explained this to my teachers. Let's suppose I'm teaching a math unit. This is simple. addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And the child got all the problems right except for division. Now, as a teacher, what do you think I would do? Make him take the whole test again? No. He doesn't know division. Tutor him a little bit, let him get some work or study review on division, then retest him just on that part. That's what I suggest. We have the greatest school. We have the greatest students. We have the greatest teachers. We even have an outstanding parent involvement coordinator. And we have great parents. There is no way that our school could be performing, our students performing like they do, if it was not for teachers and, parents. Parents have to get involved. You must. And I dare say that every one of you parents that are in here, your child performs well. I wish I could get some parents here sometime that their children do not perform so well. And it's not to embarrass them or anything. Sometimes children just do not perform well. But parents send the best they have. We take them where they are, we try to move them forward. That's always been my philosophy. I guess because I grew up poor, one of 11 children, and I saw education very early on in my life was my way out of poverty. And it's everyone's way out of poverty. It's a way to improve yourself. It's a way to help your children make more money than you make. It's a way to help your children have a better life than what you have. And your life may be great. If you don't ask questions, I'll go on and on. What? Can we stop? Sure, we can stop. Gosh, see how hateful she is already? No, I'm kidding. We're stopping. I appreciate you tremendously being here. What? We're going to talk to you about PTO. Let me introduce PTO officers. Did they vote on it, Vicki? Do like we said. We have a person who is going to be our president. Don't we?
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kelly Boyles. I have a 7th grader right now. I have a daughter at Chattanooga Valley Elementary School, and I have a son who is a freshman at Ridgeland. So.
Ms. Voles has considered or agreed to be our PTO president. Is there other nominations from the floor? How many just says amen to having Ms. Voles be our PTO president? Amen. Everybody agree with that? Raise your hand. See? Hands all over the building. We do not have a candidate for vice president this time. Give it some thought. If you're interested, let us know. You and Ms. Voles can work together all year long, and she'll help you out. We'll all work together to make things good for CVMS. Okay. Secretary, stand up, dear. Don't be embarrassed. Introduce yourself.
My name is Erica Watson. I have 2 daughters here, 6th and 8th grade.
Tell me your name again.
Erica Watson.
She is so quiet, isn't she? Erica Watson. Miss Watson. She has consented to be our secretary. Any other nominations? Those in favor of electing Miss Watson, raise your hand. So done. Miss Reed, stand up.
No, I'm not quiet. I'm Vicki Reed. I have an 8th grade daughter. I've been treasurer the last 2 years, and I volunteered to be treasurer again this year.
Any other nominations? Those in favor of letting Miss Reed do it, let's raise your hand. See, anyone who's willing to work, we just put them to work. Now, if you will let Miss Voles, Miss, what's your name now? Miss Shepard, myself, I'm teasing you. Miss Shepard, or myself know, if you're interested in being vice president, come forward, tell one of us, we'll be glad to have you, okay? Miss Reed, speak to us.
Last year, the PTO created a Facebook page. So if you would like, because we put a lot of information on the Facebook page, so it's CBMS PTO, and just like it, or ask to join, and because we do put a lot of information on there, especially about the PTO events.
Okay. Miss Shepherd does not want to put all this food back in boxes. So when we close, line up behind me, and we'll go. No, I'm kidding. Go get it, okay? All right. I tremendously appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate you being here. What parent in here owns your own business? Raise your hand. Aha, good candidate to be on my school council, I bet. Anyone else? I need some more.
Right here, right here.
Yes, this young lady, she can be on it. Okay, go eat food. Have a good evening. If you miss me shortly, I'll be gone. I've been here since 5:30 this morning.